How diddly do, Sam? I was just trying to visualize right now how we would do this spinner. But what I'm thinking is be some. I like the idea of this colored wheel, and we would probably do some pegs on the. Yeah, I was thinking 16 options, and maybe we put pegs in between here. And the idea is that you guys would control the servo on top that stops the pegs. Um, but yeah, I gotta work on the design of that. It's gonna be decently sized. It'll be like 3 feet wide. I don't know how much that is in centimeters. But in just a second, I'm gonna go over and start getting the wood and cutting it up. I'm just trying to get an idea, but I think 16 options gives plenty to do within an hour event.
Of course, it's also possible that if we have the option somehow switchable, then we could have more than 16. Like if they would be on stickers or something.
Uh,
So you could slap a new sticker
After
there.
one's been done, we
Yeah, you could
slap
slap a
another.
new one.
Yeah, then we could do basically like, well, we could do 8 on this. Then they'd be really big. Basically, connecting these together and just having these be their own sections. And then just do the same all the way around. Yeah, well, I guess either way, I got to make a circle. So that's.
Yeah, that's the first step, I'm sure.
So I guess we'll see how it looks. I can draw it out on the circle and we have a huge, like a poster printer, so I'll print probably sections individually anyway and slap them on. So yeah, maybe I'll change the design a little bit. I don't know. And then I was thinking in the center, it'll just be a thing that says "Let's do this" on this, and this won't move, and these move behind it. And
Beautiful.
yeah, beautiful. And then the idea is that in the back there'd be a light pole, like you normally use for lights. Just would be stand like this, and this would be mounted on the top of the light pole, and then the servo's up here. Servo's on the top, and you all would be able to control when it stops, something like that. Or we were just talking that maybe the servo itself is actually higher up, and it's controlling a string which is hooked to a metal piece which is in some slots. So when the servo moves up and down, the metal piece could drop and you could stop it. You could try to time it where it stops exactly on one of these areas that have pins. So that's probably how we'll do it. So then this would just be mounted on a piece of wood. The wood would have the slots. We make the metal pole, and we are good to start programming and getting all of the weird stuff you guys decided to do on the Discord, getting it all ready for Friday. So far, people are saying they want to have us slap each other. Uh, Physical stuff, jumps, running in the spot, burpees. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't think we want to slap each other or shoot each other with paintball guns again or anything like that. And that looks painful.
Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna be that guy and you are the slapper, so
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Your muscles are a bit too much.
It's like, all right, oh, it's the first thing everybody wanted to land on. I guess we're ending the event. Thanks, guys. We have some things like eat peppers, rap for 30 seconds. Lockie said draw a picture of Shane's dogs. Player wins 300 coins, so maybe you guys win some prizes or plushies or something. Guess pinball parts blindfolded. Guess food in their mouth blindfolded. Take a shot of something. So those are some ideas. What do we have in the check? Could possibly, even towards the end of the event, have both wheels running, so you have to do two things at once, like eat chili peppers while drawing Shane's dog. Ah, interesting. Yeah, or maybe we just make the sections here have two things. So it's 30-second rap while eating jalapenos. And then it's like really hard to rap because your mouth is burning.
Or if we replace those, we can like towards the end we can have harder punishments, so to say. So you need to draw and rap at the same time. Like if you
Right.
can swap those things when they are used. So we start with the easy ones and they get removed and like harder ones come in. So at the end it can be these combinations.
Yeah, I like the
Same.
combination idea though. It might be kind of funny. Combine those things together. All right, I guess it is time to start cutting some wood and actually making this thing physically. Today, the only things we're gonna do is cut the wood out, get it mounted on the pole, and probably mount the servo also.
But test spinning it because
Well,
that's
yeah,
the crucial part. Like
well, it's gonna be connected today, so we'll spin it.
yeah.
Oh, he's saying, or have like a couple wheels set up, so you spin one wheel and then you spin another wheel. So it picks one from this wheel, picks one from that wheel. Right. Yeah, well, let's see how this first wheel goes. And maybe, or you could even do it. You land on something and then pull something out of a hat. And then we're like, all right, you have to rap, while doing push-ups or jumping jacks or something. Or petting my dog. Yeah. All right, so right now what I'm going to do is I got to find the wood. I was already seeing a good candidate. You guys are having a kumbaya?
Kumbaya, da, kumbaya. Shane, nice antenna on your phone.
Nice what?
Antenna.
Yes. I have a nice zip tie. So what I was thinking is I was going to cut this wood out. It's really thin. And should be easy enough to... We have a car phone running around. It'll be easy to spin. It's not too heavy. It even has a hinge on it already that I could maybe reuse as the spinning center. But yeah, this is readily available, so I'm just probably going to take this off and use this. Yeah, just another day in the office. Exactly. I need a cutter.
That's because on Android they support it, you can send video, and I guess on iOS
I don't know.
because if you change this to MJPEG,
I think that's HLS.
also some other small things I was able to do. I took my phone that this app will always run. So I believe
idea is just to
The other way.
find center, mark the hole, stick some string out, run a circle,
I figured today.
drill the hole, cut the circle, stick it on a pivot point in the center, and start thinking of how we want to put the graphics and things. So, I mean, this wood's straight enough,
But the problem is
and it's gonna be trash anyway, so you might as well use it. And I'm thinking maybe we can reuse these pivot points here, these hinges, for being in the center of the wheel. But let's see. I might have some other stuff over at the wood area. Let's go over there and start marking this stuff out. Here's where we're going to run the event. It's already cleaned up from last Friday's dog event where the dogs were here. So on that back wall, that's where we're going to stick a desk with Esco and me. And then in the corners, we're going to do activities that we get spun on, and those are all the ones that got destroyed by the dogs last week. Ah, yeah, true. I am wearing a NASA shirt on Star Wars Day. Should have worn my Star Wars shirt. Right. This year we didn't do anything for Star Wars Day. We just have a bunch of other things we're doing right now. So we decided to skip it this year, unfortunately. Would have been fun, but it's a lot of other things. So yeah, let me grab some string. Right. Now I'm just gonna run a circle around and get our circle cut out. Just a sec. There we go. Got our circle. Got our center. Now we just gotta start cutting. I think the easiest thing is I'm just gonna take this outside. I don't want to get wood everywhere in the office. So I'll just start on that. So what we need is our saw. No, we don't want sawdust in the fire alarm again. Yeah, it's true. The fire alarm was apparently all of the sawdust that was back in here and went up into some sensor. I think it was that one, maybe. Yeah, I didn't cut any wood last time, but I guess just the wood in general, there was just tons of dust and stuff here. But now it's all cleaned up. If you remember, this place was completely filled with wood, and there was lots of sawdust everywhere here as well. And it looks like somebody cleaned up all my dog food, which I did not clean up. Alright, let me grab battery. And let's make our way outside. It must have been built up over the time from the cutting in that facility. Yeah, we've been cutting up a lot of stuff over the past year, and I don't think we cleaned it up too well. So I'm not entirely surprised that this happened. But also those sensors we have in there are like really overly sensitive. Because I turned on a fog machine, I don't know, maybe it's a year ago already. And the fog machine, it shouldn't be using any smoke. It was water vapor. And the water vapor turned off the alarms. Like, we have these alarms everywhere here. But yeah, the fire department came and they were not happy with me. But they did not fine me. They actually told me that the next time we have a fire alarm come off, or they said, you can do that like 3 or 4 times before we're gonna fine you. So that's good for me. I can do that 3 or 4 more times before anything even bad happens. But alright, looks like in the trash here there's like a table. So I'm gonna take this table, set it out here in the parking lot. It's a nice gloomy day here in Finland. And we'll start cutting. Let me try to get us somewhat of a decent setup here. Right now I have a phone zip tied to a tripod, so what's that pink tower? This is like I think it's like a rental place, or you can storage or something, the city Varasto. I'm sure it says it in the name, but I don't know language, so don't ask me. Alright, here, I can stick those on the dumpster. Everything but fire alarm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Bolin. So I got lucky that there's a block of table here. So we'll use this to cut our circle out. So just tuned in. This is the circle that we're gonna spit on the game show on Friday. So each section will show something that me and Esko have to do during the event. So I have to make that wheel. So I found this. This was a piece of wood that was the top of a claw machine box from China. So this is Chinese wood. If it all stays together, should be fine. We'll even have the spinning and maybe even the servo and all that stuff hooked up today already. But let me just make sure Everything here is good. Section here that still had metal in it, so didn't cut through that. Gonna that works too. And there we go. We have a circle. This wood's kind of crappy, but it's Chinese boxwood, whatever standard or grade that is. But the plies are not stuck together very nice. But I think it's fine. And this is the center point, which made the circle, so we should be able to just drill a hole in there, and we'll be able to mount this up shortly. We can start spinning it and see how, does it spin nicely? Do I need to stick a bearing in the center? It's a question. So we'll see. I don't know what content means, but for some reason that's on the box. Let's take this amazing wood circle back inside and get this spinning. I can show you really quickly. At Surrogate, all employees have access to the gym in here. Oh, you're in the gym. Actually, that's one of our employees right there. So yeah, it's everybody on this building has access actually. There's usually a cafeteria down there as well, but because of Corona, no one's eating here anymore, and most people are working from home. But I'm not cutting wood and doing this stuff at home. There's no way. Internet-controlled treadmill. Yeah, I wanted to do that, actually. I was telling the guys that it would be really funny. We have like a bunch of us on treadmills, and you get to vote on which ones go up in speed. And then at the very end, it's like whoever lasted the longest is the winner. I don't know. Or whoever you voted on in the beginning as who you thought would be the winner, you get a certain amount of gems or something as a prize. Might be something interesting to do. But yeah, I think it would be funny. All right. Now we need to drill that hole. So let's find us drill. Did you need this for anything? This metal thing?
No.
Okay. So I have this random metal piece that looks like it could work out decently. We just kind of stick the wood on here and maybe it'll even rotate and have no friction. Worst case, I can stick a bearing, but I think first we'll try this. It's a smaller hole. So if it works, then we're good. So I just need to get a bit. That is big enough for that. And we'll drill it. Do we have bigger drill bits than these ones, or is this the biggest we have right here?
The box has some, I think the box on the right.
We have some.
Oh yeah, that's pretty big. Let's see. A little bit too big.
I guess these are the other options.
Yeah, the hole saws. Oh. I actually don't know what this is.
It's for chamfering. The edges.
Ah, right. I think they still do the hole though, because this looks perfect. close enough. There's a little lining, but. Would be probably better if it was a bolt, though. Let's see. Yeah, thick, real thick. Find stuff out of them as well. Seating part of it, you have to use your crunchable profile picks. Yeah, would be. I think it'd be a funny event if we did that treadmill idea. Well, it almost seems too simple. We just mount this on the light tripod, so we'll get that right now. And we'll use that as the stand. I think it's the easiest way. Then we can adjust it in height however we want. And because I think me and Esko are going to be at a table. So the idea is that, yeah, like I'll use one of these stands. Maybe this stand. And then, yeah, so the idea, again, is that there'd be a camera here. All this stuff would be moved out of the way. There'd be me and Esko, and then the big circle in between us. We'll spin it, and then you guys control the servo that stops the spin on a certain thing that we have to do. Then we'll get up, walk over to this corner, which will have whatever that activity is already set up, and then we have to do that thing, and then walk back and then do the next spin. So we're going to use this space. This is kind of like our experiment space. So last week we had the dogs here. It's all cleaned up now, and then we're going to set it up. So I'm going to try to make this now mount to that block of wood. Probably do it in a really not permanent way, just drill a hole. And then we can get the thing spinning, and then we'll walk over to Esco and we'll already put the, or think about how we're going to set the servo to control the thing. One thing I don't like is it has this little lip here, so I'm going to try to press it with the vice grip, or the vice here, just to get it a little bit more flat. Right. Next, let's drill our hole. Looks about right, a little bit smaller. Should be decently strong. I just undersized cut the hole in the wood and then used the threads to thread the wood as it was going through. Nothing super advanced there. And we have a wheel. Now it's a little bit lopsided because this isn't very tight, which is not going to keep it directly on the pivoting point. So that's something that can definitely be improved. Because you want to be able to spin it and not not go like that. So, yeah, the better option probably would have been to not use this weird thing, but gotten a bolt that was the right size. Then we could tighten the bolt with 2 washers that would then keep the wood centered and staying on the same, not like flopping around on its axis. So if I can find a large bolt somewhere, we'll be in business. Yeah, I think this will do. So basically what I'm talking about is you put the wood in between these 2 washers. Have that on the outside, so the wood is where my fingers are, and then it's connected to the block, which is then tightened here, and that'll keep it nice and centered instead of flopping back and forth like it is now on top of this pole looking thing. So I'm gonna remove that and swap it for a bolt. Like this thing here would have worked great if I could find a bolt that fits the end here, but I don't think we have any bolts that fit the end. Actually, I stand corrected. Found a nut that works, so that we can reuse this then. So actually, this will work out nice, because what I wanted to have also is a non-moving circle that would be on the front that says the logo, Let's Do This. So we can mount it to this pole on the end, and then we'll stick the wood in between these 2 washers. So yeah, actually this will be fine. Yeah, should work. Of course, the thing is too short, so I'm going to drill a bigger hole for it. That looks a lot more stable. You can see from the side. As it spins, it's not flopping around like it was. So, I mean, it would be way over engineered for this, but you could have like stabilizer wheels around the edge of the wood, so it would be like small gaps between a couple wheels. You might want a bearing for the wheels. The wood will get damaged when it spins. Yeah, I have I have some bearings here as a backup. So if this doesn't seem to work decently without shredding up the wood, I have bearings that are like quite wide. So even if the wood gets shredded, I can drill the hole bigger to hold that bearing, and then we'll just get a bolt that goes through the bearing. But as it is now, I mean, it really has to last an hour event. And I think this could last a few hours of just spinning. So it's not like a super long-term thing. This is just kind of like each of these experiments are like put together prototypes. Like how can you do something really quick just to prove the concept? And the concept here is like that game show where you guys online are going to control where this stops. So at the beginning of every turn, we'll spin it, and then your servo, when you go dook, will stop that at the specific spot, and that's what we have to do. So you're going to have to try to aim it. So for that purpose, I think this is going to be okay. But yeah, then I'm going to have a stationary piece here that says the logo on it, and then each of these sections will have a design of what you guys, if you're watching, you have to go to our Discord, and you have to tell us what you want on this board for me and Esco to do on Friday. There's things like eat a habanero, take a shot of something, do a 30-second lap, those type of things. So go on there, and we're going to pick all the ideas today so I can actually get them printed and slapped on here for tomorrow. So we can get this stuff tested early. But next, we need to figure out how we're going to mount the servo, and which is going to stop this, and we also have to do the little points, the little pieces of wood that the servo will stop on. So that is next. I think I'll rip apart my dog feeder thing. This is the one we didn't use. This is a 35 kilogram servo. It's more than enough. And I think what we're going to use is like a string connected to it. And then it's not going to be the servo that stops. The servo is going to drop a metal bar, which will stop the wheel from spinning. So that is that. So I will start on the servo holder. This thing was hot glued too, so it's going to be a little bit of a pain unless I get a lighter, but then that might ruin the servo. So, well, let's see. Let's go for broke. Worst case, I have more servos in the box. So, I think I'm going to extend this block of wood to then hold the servos somewhere up here. And then on the block of wood, we'll have 2 guiding pins for the metal, which will drop and stop the wheel. So we don't damage the servo. Because this probably is a decent amount of force on the outer edge. To jam this up at least. So we have some wood here. I believe. Find something.
suoraan kunnan. Vielä. Tuosta tuli aika jämäkkä. Eikö? Luulen, että se ei se varmaan mikään heilu.
No.
Right. So I think what we're gonna do is mount the servo to this, and then this is gonna get screwed into here, and then we can work on making those guides for the metal bar. I guess you can find a metal bar already to decide on. Actually, it might be a bad move, but you can have it as a first. Maybe we'll use the block of wood, which would be guided by two other blocks of wood. It would slide down this from the servo, which would land on one of the cogs on the outside and stop it on a single thing. And I can cut it into like an arrow and make it red, so you'll see when this drops down. And then the servo, so it would be like this. Two guides. Servo would have like a string coming up off of it, and when the servo drops, it drops down into the cogs, and then when it's spinning, this would be pulled up and out of the way of the cogs. So you would control when this drops to stop the wheel from turning. It has to be pretty decently mounted, because there'll probably be a decent amount of force when this thing spins. So I gotta find a decent set of screws that we can use for that, just to make sure that we're all good there. drilling holes in the wood because our screws aren't long enough. So I'm gonna basically shrink the wood so that the screw can actually go through. Seems to be hitting a little bit on the top there, so I'm just going to take a little notch out of the top, so less friction stopping it. It is hitting on the bottom. I could space it out, but I don't think I'm going to do that right now. I think we're good without that. little bit on the top actually. I'll still take another bit off of there. And space the wheel out just a tad. Also, fortunately, we don't have a real drill bit for it, and that size. I'm going to use this other thing. space the whole thing out then. So yeah, it's hitting the stand. It's slowing it down too fast. So just gotta undo the wood and space the whole thing out. I want it to spin at least a good 20 seconds on each spin, because that's probably what the turn is going to be. So we'll do what we can to get to that. Actually, this could work out better. I don't need the 2 blocks. I would just mount the 1. And then have the servo come off of this. And then that block that this is spinning on would be out further. So actually, I think it could actually work out decently. That's my hole where I'm going to tighten the middle pivot point from. I'm going to drill it out with a hole saw.
Niitä pitäisi saada. Niin, tuolla ne. Joo. Haluat ne varmaan. Pitänyt vaan päälle. Vaan päälle aika.
Nyt on tehty.
Mitä saatana käy?
Mitä puolella? Miksi tän teitä?
Niin päin.
Jos pitää, niin pitää toinenkin tehdä. Riippuu tietenkin mihin se tulee.
No se on nyt sellainen hylly, tiedätkö? Siis. Ai, tässä on pari tuollaista. Nyt tulee niinku. Tossa on nyt niinku yhden suuntaiset 2 palaa. Ja sit tosta tulee toisen suuntaiset.
Alright.
Sit se on siinä. Täällä koittaa tätä niin ohutta toi vanneri, että se vääntyy ihan hullisesti, niin pitää koittaa tehdä niin jäykät vannerit. Saa naputella ne yli vasalla paikalle, ja sit ne ehkä niinku niin lukitsee sen riittävän jäykäksi.
Joo. Se kuuma liima aivan väliin.
Kuuma liima. Survakäten perusvarusteet.
Here's the tricky part. I don't have small fingers, so getting into this hole is a little bit hard.
Se ei tarvitse nähdä niin kuuma liimaa. Kiinni nää. Nää aina väliin yhteyden näistä. Se oikein tartuttu tonne mekalle. Ja itse asiassa se metalliset näyttää tullut. Just saadaan siirtyä nyt aina tänne kaiken näköisen puhuin.
Actually, screw it. Screw it. I won't screw it from there.
Ei varmaan ole menossa enää salille.
I'm gonna take this back apart. Just gonna assemble it,
En mä tiedä, katsotaan jos huomioiksi.
fully assembled at the end. I'm not gonna do it in piece by piece.
Moro.
Juu, moro.
You really are building a wheel.
I'm building a wheel.
Feedback. The lens is very dirty
Oh.
on your camera. I'm assuming that's the lens. Lenses.
One of those three.
no idea if this made any difference, but
At least you tried.
yeah, exactly.
I'll come from the back instead. What?
We were just filming you, and you just like you looked at it and you paused. It looked like you have no idea what you're doing. You're like, this doesn't seem to fit.
Yeah. This circle doesn't go in the square.
Exactly.
Triangle.
Wait, how can it stay on? Oh, okay. How is it staying on there?
It's I threaded it,
Oh, okay.
so it's threaded onto the thing.
Got it. This desk. Oh. Then I don't know. So next you're gonna mount it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get it mount doesn't rub on anything. So my first mount is rubbing on the wood everywhere. So right now I just made it offset. So now it's should come away from hitting this and hitting the top of this.
Yeah.
You want to help? You can hold this right here. Come on, come in.
So I'm sorry. I'm really busy working right now.
Might be able to lean it on this a little.
How do you want me to hold it?
Hold it.
Yeah, like right there. You gotta push that wood against.
These have to touch.
Completely off
Yeah, I took it off. Just trying to find one that's touching really good. has to match with that big wall. Yeah, like that. Just need to put a couple of those in.
I'll hold it in air and you just push it like all.
Yeah.
And then I'll move those things.
The what?
Yeah.
Well, let me put a couple more and see what happens. Well, that's not even touching. None of those.
Yeah, it's like a huge gap. Maybe if you push it against the wall, because I can't seem to like
Yeah.
get it. Maybe that's better.
Yeah, maybe I could do this. These screws are stripping. I'm gonna replace them.
Yeah, this was completely missed.
Yeah, I'm taking it out.
It's not even pretty.
Yeah, I think it's touching anything. It's spin off.
Like that, the one on the left side is the one that's holding it in place right now. So
Yeah.
take that off. I don't know now.
Stripped. Get it out. Problem is I can't find a hammer anywhere.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh, fuck it.
How do you get it out?
Be nice if this wasn't dull.
Something simple.
Okay.
try.
Retry. I'm gonna get some new screws. I don't know. Screws.
We just
I'm just thinking, okay, we can just ask them, hey, do you guys want to eat? Yeah. They say yes.
tripod.
We can figure it out. Really neat. Yeah, also there was another figure, right? Yeah, but like in the game, it's Yeah. Would be something that
Or just made it so you can push it easier against the wall.
the ball can see. You know,
Well,
back.
I can't hold both.
What do you need me to
Maybe
hold?
you hold that one?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to line it, bring it down. So we can line it with this hole here.
Is the other way around? Yeah, like here. Is that the way it's supposed to be, or is that thing? Is this the right way?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, hold it about there. Doesn't keep perfect, but
Maybe for
Let's
this
see if we can fit it against it.
but it's the wall.
Here, all you need is one square with it. Nice.
And then the whole but then the extra part. Then it should be one of the minus.
alright. Should be good.
Okay, am I putting it there?
Spins.
It works.
So it's
Does the job.
should do the job.
Alright, this should be a problem.
So yeah, I guess the camera fell. Sorry. So the idea here is now we have the piece of wood here. We can mount the servo to it, which will drop the pin, which will stop the spinning. So yeah, let's work on that. It rubs a tiny bit, but it's not so bad anymore. And we'll put some weights on the ground so it doesn't do that shaking that you see it doing. Okay. Next. Figuring out how to mount the servo up there. So as we decided, we'll have the servo up here, pull the pin up, and then when it's spinning, you guys will control when this servo drops a pin, which will land in some cogs, which will stop this thing from spinning around. So to mount this up here, I'll cut the top off afterwards, and I will do 2 pieces of wood to act as the guides for the pin. So when the pin drops, it'll do pressure against those guides versus the servo itself. Probably gonna print instead of painting, but we'll see. We'll see how it looks. So yeah, I'm not sure yet. But first we'll get the thing set up, and then I'll think of which one will be easier. We have a printer, and I'll just do the designs on the computer and print them out most likely. Because then I could have the fonts all clear and maybe some images or something if I want, or just the specific colors. I don't have to buy specific paint or something like that. So yeah, if the servo is mounted up here, we'll have a string that comes off down through the middle. In the middle here, we have our pin, which will drop, and that's what's going to stop the wheel. So it'll be on some cogs on the outside here. And then after a turn is over, this will go up and we can spin the wheel again. So now we're going to make an attachment between the servo and this wood. I think it's just going to be a simple string or wire. And then stick a couple cogs here and we can bring it over to Esko. And he could already start on the software, which will move just the servo to do the stopping. And then we can have it all set up on Surrogate already, and we could test how it all works together. So let's get to mounting that servo. Again, this is just supposed to be a really simple prototype, since it's a 1 hour event that's going to happen on Friday. We don't need to make perfection here. We just need something that works for the hour. And the point of this is just to show it's really simple. You're just going to use the servo template, and you can make this same experience yourself using very basic tools. Just need a little creativity on how to put everything together. But you can do a lot with just one servo. Just like we did the paintball event, you use the same exact servo to aim the gun side to side. So that same concept is going to be reused here. And this same servo was used to feed the dogs. So we're pushing food out of a tube on last Friday. So it's like a building block. You can think of a million things to do with one servo, or multiple servos. So I think I will mount it here. Just got to think of the height. This is when it's completely away. This is just some wire. Some metal wire that I have attached here. Maybe we say when it's down, it's like that. When it's up, we want it to be a little bit higher. Then just to see. So this is up position, and then, oh, I messed this up because I wrapped it. I have to unwrap this, because I blocked the outside pivoting of this arm. So I shouldn't wrap that, I should wrap it behind it. Yes. Yeah, once I get this here, I probably will just hot glue the servo to the wood because it's not going to take any actual stress. We can then bring it over to Esko. So here's the down position. I'll probably put a piece of wood here so it doesn't come outwards like this. And then when it's up, down. So yeah, I think it's going to work just fine. You heat up the hot glue gun. Get the servo mounted. I'll put one cog so Esco can test, and then we'll put the rest of them tomorrow. Let's see. I need to look for the hot glue gun, so I'm not sure where it is. I might have left it last week over on this workstation we were doing the software. I have no idea where the hot glue gun is. Any idea where the hot glue gun is?
It was on the shelf.
Okay. Which shelf though? The one?
Actually, I don't know because we cleaned that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's not on the table anymore. But you saw it somewhere there? Okay.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Stan the Man.
Coming straight at a Surrogate HQ. Oh, man, I didn't even see it. It was right here. Okay, so let's get this servo hot glued, and we can move this over to software. If Esco is still here. I'm not sure if he's still here or not. Be good. And I'll just stick one of these in the front to guide it so it doesn't come out from the channel there. If I can find a piece of wood, this one almost looks perfect. Wow, it's like I cut it exactly for this. So that works. This can also just be hot glued. I don't need screws for it. It's not going to take any force. All the force is going to be on these sides. When the pin drops and it hits the cog, it's going to be the force there. And that's why we're separating it from the servo. So the servo doesn't need to take that. Doesn't need to take that force. So while this really bad hot glue gun heats up, I am going to think of what cogs I would want to use. I want to use circle ones, but I don't think we have anything circular besides like circle rod of plastic, but I don't really want to start taking that apart. I could use squares as the as those stoppers if I really need to, and it looks like we have a lot of them. I could just cut a bunch of squares. It's not really the traditional thing for it, but I guess it would work. It'd be kind of like diamonds if we took the squares and turned them sideways. So maybe it's not. Maybe it doesn't look too bad. I bet there's an already pre-cut diamond here for tests. Or I could just cut one of these right now. So how far would I want it? They don't need to be too big. They need to be just enough to drop the pin in and maybe a little bit extra. So about what I have right here, I can cut, and we'll see. If it looks good, then I can just hack a whole bar worth, and then we'll have everything we need. So maybe the stoppers are like diamonds instead of the normal circle, or just squares. It'll be easier to stop if it stops on a square. But they do need to be further out actually than I have here. So I made this one too short. I guess a similar distance as these, just to be sure, would be nice. Which is right at this knot. So let's cut that. Actually, I think we will use something else. Get a little bit more accurate. I think we'll use our table saw here. Hello, Ezra. Still in the early stages? Well, I mean, we have the wheel now. So I cut the wheel out of the wood. I have it mounted. I have a section here that has a channel, which this servo is going to drop the wood down, which is your stopper. So it's going to land in a cog. So I didn't make the cogs just yet, but that's what's going to stop the wheel. So we'll spin it by hand in person, and then you drop the pin, which stops it. So then tomorrow we'll be putting all the graphics and stuff on it. And if Esko's still here today, he might do the software for this on the live stream here, or he might do it tomorrow. But right now I'm just going to make one cog, so he at least has something he can test against, where he can spin it, he can drop it, and see if it stops, and we can test if the thing actually functions in theory. But I got to set up this table saw here, because if I cut all of them now, I can make them really accurate if we use this. Yes. Is this the same wood? Yes. Alright, so we got plenty of this wood. much higher. I don't know if this will go high enough with this wood. At least half. Okay, it's at least half. It'll do for now. It's kind of a small table saw. Let's see, I think that's the right distance. So that'll be one of the stopping cogs that will have multiple of them around. And then each of those sections would have the actions you want me and Esco to do. So if you haven't already, go to our Discord and tell us what you want on this board. So when we actually have the game on Friday, you can drop the pin on the one you selected and we'll actually do it. We'll do it live on stream, like rap for 30 seconds or eat a jalapeno or habanero or something. So yeah, let's see, is the hot glue heated up? I think we can add the turbo now to the top. So that'll be there. And then I'm going to hot glue the cover so that the pin actually drops on the cog, but not on the outside. So as you can see, we got the servo, it's in the up position right now. And then when it goes down, it's going to land on one of the cogs there. I might even just extend that wire a little bit further down, just so we get a little bit more drop in it. So I'll bring this up. I'm going to cut this wire finally. This is takes a while to unwrap this. So down will be here. Let's move it even lower, like that. That would be our down. dismount one of the cogs. I think probably best is to screw it because they're gonna pop off if they're hot glued. Our screws aren't really long enough, so I'm gonna drill a hole and we'll screw into that hole there. So yeah, let's try it out. This is the first test. If we spin this and then drop the servo, is it gonna stop it or is something catastrophic gonna break? Let's try it. Actually worked. First try. So yeah, you'll control how fast that servo drops down. And then it moves out of the way, and then we have a next spin. So the next player would go, this would drop, boom. We got it, first try. So now, this is good enough for Esko to test. He can do his servo stuff if he's still here. Otherwise, I'm gonna finish the graphics tomorrow. So I'll probably start the live stream where I'm doing the graphics, which I'll then print. And then we'll be able to test it tomorrow. So it's only going to take 2 days. This is going to be a really fast one. It's more prepping the event area itself, getting the cameras set up, getting the different angles we want, the things we want to pop on screen, depending on what is chosen as the activities that me and Esko have to do. Yeah. Seems to be solid enough even when I spun it pretty quick. But yeah, really simple setup. Is this a little bit loose? I guess. So maybe these have to be tighter. I guess the thing that's going to break is these things if I spin it too fast. So maybe I have to put, if I cut all of these, I might have to do 2 holes to hold it in, because I can see now it's bending the one screw, which will probably break this cheap Chinese board. This is like a package box for claw machines, and it's really thin. So maybe a couple screws will do it better, so we don't break the whole board apart. But yeah. Overall, I think we're good here. So anyways, hopefully that was somewhat interesting to see. You can also do this yourself, but it's going to look really good tomorrow. When I get the graphics on, I'll design those in the morning. We'll print them out, we'll stick them on. Esko will have this thing working. Still might want to not have to spin it ourselves. Maybe we'll stick a motor on this so that it spins constantly, and then you would stop it on something, but still not sure if I want to do it that way or not. But yeah, we'll determine that tomorrow. Right now it is 6:30, so I think that's the end for the day. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you back tomorrow. Or sorry, what we have? James says, will it be possible to have a modifier it can land on, such as get blindfolded and the player can spin again for it to land on something else to do while blindfolded? Ah, I see what you mean. So like blindfolded is the section, and then when they get blindfolded you spin again and there's something else. Yeah, it was mentioned earlier in the live stream to have 2 of these wheels. So you spin one wheel, like wrap for 30 seconds, and then the other wheel is like eat a jalapeno, so it's hard to wrap while your mouth is burning, sort of thing. So you could have 2 different ones. But I mean, we can always do this event again or make another wheel. This is like our first attempt at it. So we could improve upon this, and do that in the future. But let's see. We'll see how this one works. But it's an experiment every single Friday, so we'll just see how it works out. But all right, thanks guys. See you later.